Power Africa program is focused on providing access to clean, reliable energy and says it's on track to connect over 580 million people living in sub-Saharan Africa who lack access to electricity. Already in partnership with USAID, Power Africa is building a public-private partnership to improve access to clean electricity and internet connectivity at health facilities in sub-Saharan Africa. And it is planning to deliver reliable, climate-friendly, life-saving power to 10,000 remote health facilities. Mark Carrato is the coordinator of the US government's Power Africa program.
So then we did the compact, large public stage. We got to advocate for this. We got to get excitement around it. People sign on. So that's large commitments, but now we got to get to action. So immediately when COVID hit, like so many other people, when we were kind of reeling to figure out how to keep moving and talk to ourselves and everything else, programmatically we realized we had to do a review. So we did a bit of a cost opportunity analysis on programs we had going, and we diverted X amount of money over and said we need to go after this thing immediately. And their idea was, not only do we want to get the numbers in terms of get as many clinics as we can, serve as many people, and we've done about, I think, 227 to date, serving over 2 million folks. But more importantly, we need to solve the problem, right? And what's the problem? The problem is these aren't bankable solutions as of today. No one probably runs into town in some rural area and finds a health clinic and says, this is a perfect person to mix my money with because I know I'll get a return, right? It's complicated. So we said we need to innovate around the model itself. So technically and business model. So we had a round of grants, had a whole bunch of winners in a number of countries across sub-Saharan Africa, and we innovated on the model and we started learning things. We started learning that maybe you can divert some money from a Ministry of Health payment for diesel to a clinic and recirculate the money in a better way. Maybe you set the tariffs on the mini grids. Often this health is going to be part of a slightly larger grid, a solar grid, to bring power to a community. Maybe you pair it with other productive use, and particularly digital connectivity. This is also a fundamental building block. When we retreated, and we probably still did our jobs, most of us did it on the computer.
Correct.
Right? If you don't have connectivity and power, that's not even a starter, right? So what other things can we put into for productive use, so the energy is used to improve human development, economic development, into the mix so it's bankable? Because maybe if you have more service deliveries, you're going to find a way to be able to have a private sector solution come in and be truly sustainable over time.
Right.
With smart subsidy, that's where we come in. We pay, we want to put money in those grants to innovate. There'll be subsidy needed from both public and probably development partner resources to catalyze this. People should put money there. That's smart subsidy. It will follow the market. It will accelerate the market. But also we learned very quickly that while we were trying to always solve for how to get the solar panel on the roof, everyone knows you have to solve for how to keep the solar panel running. So what creative ways could we look at sustainability and operation and maintenance and make sure that no one loses sight? It's the most egregious examples when you go somewhere and you see something and it's rusting. You're like, oh, that's fairly wasted. Or you see 3 or 4 different people doing different things, taking part of the solution. Solar lights here for your panel, a diesel gen set for that equipment. How do we integrate that and then make sure it stays working over time? Correct. So that was the second part.
Right. In conclusion, looking at the conversations that have happened at this Sustainable Energy for All Forum here in Rwanda, what sort of commitments do you see, Power Africa coming out with in terms of moving forward as we head towards COP27? What are some of those commitments that you feel you should be able to say that this is what we are committing ahead of this COP27, and of course with the whole goal of cutting down on this energy access gap?
Sure. To some extent, I wouldn't necessarily pinpoint COP27 as the inflection point, because I like to think we've already committed. We're clearly committing, and I think hopefully if you look at our track record and talk to our partnerships, we're an action type of organization. We want to make sure. So we're in implementation phase on a lot of this stuff. We've been working across those areas, all sub-Saharan Africa, for a long time, at the forefront of looking at how to get mini grids bankable, at the forefront of looking at clean energy solutions and different kinds of technologies. So we're going to double down that commitment. The healthcare, I think, to some extent, is a new commitment because we're increasing it. I mentioned what we did so far. We just announced, I think you noted the Health Electrification and Telecommunication Alliance. Our administrator, USAID Administrator Samantha Power, announced about 2 weeks ago that we will try to go after 10,000 ourselves with private sector partners, because absolutely critical that we bring in that sustainability from day one. So that's a new commitment, and we're getting really close to officially kind of launching that in terms of a procurement. So that's how things work. But this idea we're doing now is a bit of a switch. Often we on the government side, and donors have to go and kind of think we have the answers, and we write down the answer. We write down, and people have to respond to us, and then we choose someone, and they go and do the work on our behalf. It's a fine model that works in a lot of spots, and that's for competition, of course. This one, we have some really great regulation in the U.S. government and USAID to be able to co-create with certain stipulations, and we've met those. We can say, we have an idea, we don't have all the answers, and we probably shouldn't, and you probably do. Yeah. You data partner, you partner who's done small off-grid solutions, you a financial partner, you private business, telecom, who has to go out there and service towers. How do we work together and design something to go after those? And so we're ready to do that. Like literally next month, we're going to start that partnership. We've been thinking about it. The private sector side is already aligned. We're still open for business, as it were. They're looking for a lot more partners of all sorts. And then we'll look and we'll see, innovate on the best models, hopefully keep iterating. It will be country specific though. It will have results, focus for individual countries, and some partners want to work in certain spots. And that's a new commitment. But for the rest of it, we're doubling down on what we've done. I think our commitment, if you put in those terms, is we're ready to act and not just talk.